Geek Out! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Geek Out Championship Wrestling, a podcast about wrestling, where we look at the state of wrestling on a pay-per-view-ly basis. I am your host with the most, Chris Nolan, and to my right is my co-host with the co-most, Timmy C.
Yeah. What is up, Chris?
Not much. How are you, sir?
It's great to be back.
Yeah.
I tell you, it seemed like just yesterday.
Right?
that we were just watching the last pay-per-view.
Survivor Series?
And now we're back to another one.
Yeah. Quick side note: while I was looking up the card, making my predictions, I was on the Wikipedia, and it on its little like quick facts thing, it has like next pay-per-view, last pay-per-view, blah blah blah.
Right.
I realized that last pay-per-view was Survivor Series, which means there was a takeover because it's one of the big four.
Yep.
The next quote unquote pay-per-view that we have is another takeover after Clash of Champions.
Right.
Takeover because the next big pay-per-view is Royal Rumble.
Yes, it is.
My favorite pay-per-view.
Yes, it is.
So I was like, oh damn. Because to me, in my head, there's a decently long gap between takeovers.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just because we had a million pay-per-views this year.
We did have a lot.
I mean, they because they only do takeovers around the big four, which means about every 3 months. But yeah. Anyway, that's for next episode.
Yes.
We'll talk about the takeover for sure. But let's start talking about Clash O Champions.
Yes.
Formerly known as Night of Champions.
Night of Champions, yes. And actually, the December pay-per-view used to be Armageddon.
Yeah.
And that used to be one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well.
Going back to 2008 when Jeff Hardy won the belt for the first time in a triple threat against Edge and Triple H.
Oh.
I know. That was a mark-out moment for me.
I did not see that.
Yeah.
Because as we went over last
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, of course.
But I have the network.
You do.
For only $9.99 a month. I could go back and watch it.
That's true.
Yeah.
You could. And for those that don't have it, it's free for the first month.
There you go. Sign up today.
Yes. Actually, we don't get paid for this. So
yeah.
don't
sign up.
Do whatever you want.
Get someone else's password.
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah, so Clash of Champions, the one night where all the titles have to be on the line.
In SmackDown.
In this instance, it is a SmackDown only pay-per-view. So all the titles on SmackDown.
Correct.
So no 205.
No
Universal title.
No.
None of that shit.
Mm-mm.
No, only the good titles.
Yeah. Duh.
Like the title between Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley.
Yeah.
It's a pre-show match.
Oh, you know what? It's the hype title.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
Who is hyped?
Whoa.
He ain't hype. He ain't hype.
No.
But yeah. So what are we thinking about this?
So this is a pre-show.
Yes.
Match,
which I feel kind of bad for because I do like Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley's hometown boy.
He is University of Maryland.
Yeah. Grew up here in wonderful state of Northern Virginia.
That's true.
But yeah, I feel bad that like they arguably a significant thing happened between them 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
They broke up 2 weeks ago?
They did.
You'd think that would get them on the main card. Especially since we'll go over it, in more detail later, but the Breezango, the Fashion Police, just out of nowhere got a match on the card,
right?
And they are on the card, and they all it was a YouTube video where they said we're going to challenge the Bludgeon Brothers. Granted, it's the Bludgeon Brothers, and they're trying to hype them. We'll go over this in more detail later, but it just felt kind of bad to me that the Hype Bros, their initial match between each other is on the pre-show.
Well, I think the biggest issue for me with these two is that Zack Ryder's knee injury totally derailed their momentum.
Yes.
Because they were on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no doubt that they would have at some point become the tag team champions.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about a bigger battle between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's kind of forced at this point. It's Zack Ryder's been out, he comes back, they start losing matches, and then Mojo's like, all right, I'm tired of you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a sorry excuse of a wrestler. Your career sucks. Get out of here. And so that's what we got. We have a pre-show match between two guys that are fighting over who's got more hype.
Yeah. And like I said in my notes here, like it looks like something that they've basically been teasing or kind of had in the works in the back of their mind ever since Mojo won the Andre the Giant Battle Royale. Like, because whatever argument you want to make about how effective or ineffective it is, like winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royale is kind of like a mid-card version of winning the Money in the Bank.
It is
contract.
It is.
It's showing that they want to do something with you. Granted, it in previous years, save for Big Show, who was already a big name,
right.
But like Cesaro, Baron Corbin, and now Mojo Rawley, it's kind of like we want you to be something, but we're not going to actually put effort into it until like next year.
Yeah,
because Cesaro was middling around basically until the best of 7 match with Sheamus.
Yep.
Now they're a huge thing.
Yep.
Baron Corbin was still kind of nothing until he won the Money in the Bank.
Right.
And even that didn't go over too well. But now he's U.S. champ.
But again, going back to the injury to Zack Ryder, I think that if not for that injury, we'd be talking about Mojo a little bit differently than we are now. Because I think that totally ruined any momentum. And now it's, on his own, he's not that good. He's going to need something from a creative perspective, whether they team him up with a female manager or they team him up with, somebody's enforcer. They got to do something with him. They're going to have,
I could totally see him being like, what Big E was to Dolph Ziggler?
Maybe?
Was it AJ Styles or not AJ Styles? AJ Lee,
yes,
Big E, and Dolph? I think that's who it was.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah. I could see him being, just somebody's strongman.
Yeah. The muscle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I was at was that a pay-per-view or was that a TV taping when the Hype Bros shut the fuck up when the Hype Bros won the Battle Royale thing to become the next contenders, the number 1 contenders for the tag title. I think that was a TV taping.
It was a TV taping.
And like you could feel that there was a huge amount of momentum being put behind them.
Yes.
And then they were supposed to have the actual like title match later that night. Or maybe not even the title match, but like they were supposed to have another match later that night, and they didn't come out. And everyone in the live audience is like, what the fuck's going on? Because we didn't hear, from the commentary team that Zack Ryder injured his knee.
Hurt.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And like that, like just pulled the rug underneath him. And I think that's probably why ultimately Mojo won the Andre the Giant, because they were like, well, we need something to do with him. Kind of like what they did with Big Cass when they first got called up and Enzo was out on injury.
That's right.
Big Cass had that great singles push.
Yep.
Which unfortunately now he's out
and he hurt his knee, but he'll be back next year.
Yeah. And bigger than ever.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah. So I will say, I am super excited to hear Zack Ryder's solo music.
Whoa,
again.
whoa, whoa. You know it.
That like boy band song.
Tell me everything you know.
Exactly. And like I imagine, Smark wise, we both agree that Mojo is probably going to be the one winning this match because he's the one that needs it. We've shown that Zack Ryder, while the WWE themselves don't put a whole lot of momentum behind him, except once every couple years,
right?
When he wins like the mid card belt, like we've seen that he can handle himself solo, but we don't know about Mojo. We've barely, even the little bit that he did while Ryder was out on injury. Like we barely know if Mojo can handle himself solo. So he's got to be the one that needs the most push from creative, from corporate. So he's probably going to win it. If I don't know about you while you were writing this up, but I also did mark off. I did jot down my Smark predictions, where I think the company's going to go, as well as my mark predictions, which is what we're actually competing for the still vacant mark prediction world championship.
It looks nice over there.
Yeah, I know. I added our logo to it.
Yeah, I see that. That's very nice.
Yeah. But so Smark prediction wise, Mojo, I think, is taking the win here.
I don't think so.
No?
I think both ways, whether it's Smark or Mark, it's Zack Ryder.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And whether there's a Kurt Hawkins sighting or not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I would love...
maybe the Edgeheads get back together. You never know.
By the way, as a quick aside, I get really tired, because I follow a lot of wrestlers on Twitter. Right. I get really tired of people, shit-talking Kurt Hawkins. Oh, he doesn't get any wins. That's what he's fucking there to do.
Right, exactly.
I don't want to get into the argument of actual competition versus predetermined stuff like you get in wrestling. But there are some people that their job
is a jobber.
Yeah, exactly. and even if you're a jobber on the WWE versus anything in another company, you're probably making more money.
Yeah.
And as long as you're okay with that, I understand there's people like Cody Rhodes who want to be champion, who are they're not content with being a jobber.
Yeah.
And with Cody's situation, totally understandable. They kept giving him shit. As much as I loved Stardust, I can imagine him not wanting to be Stardust.
Stardust was awful. I'm sorry. That was just terrible.
That's fine. I really popped for it when it was Stardust versus what's his name? The guy that plays the Green Arrow on TV.
Oh yeah.
Stephen Amell.
Stephen Amell. Yep.
Yeah. If they had gone with that kind of stuff a little bit more, I think it would have been a lot of fun. But I can totally understand people like Cody Rhodes being fuck this, I don't want to be a jobber in stupid face paint. But someone like Kurt Hawkins, he looks like he's having so much fun.
Oh yeah, and I mean, why not?
Yeah.
You're getting paid. Your matches are less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're not getting hurt.
All right.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and the same goes with Breezango. They are having so much fun.
Yeah, and
they still get to wrestle every week. They're called dark matches, and they're called house shows.
Yep.
Boo-hoo, it's not on TV.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to be Roman Reigns.
Well, go to a live event.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to see all the matches, go to those.
Yeah.
Is that your segue into our next one?
Yeah, do we want to hop over?
Yeah.
Let's hop over.
Well done. I mean, I tell you, for us kind of doing this for what? This is our second episode. Third? Second, right? I mean, it's nice segue.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
I tell you.
So let us go on to the Fashion Police, or as the WWE calls them, Breezango. Versus the Bludgeon Brothers,
which is pretty much Harper and Rowan.
Yeah.
The repackage has not changed at all. You
know,
it's
they
still wear
now they carry mallets,
right? And Rowan still has a gas mask.
Yeah,
it's he traded the sheep for that.
Yeah,
congratulations.
I will say I am a big fan of Harper and Rowan. Just in general,
right?
And I'm glad that this repackage didn't change them. So
didn't shave their beards.
Yeah. They have cool new outfits. I mean, I liked kind of the business or not business, but white collar, blue collar.
No, white collar. No.
Blue collar. Yeah, working man.
Okay.
Working man.
You had me second guess myself.
Yeah, the blue collar casual look of both of them.
Right.
It looked like Rowan just got off work, working on cars, and Harper was a contractor who was fixing the shingles on your roof.
He was.
And I liked that, and I don't mind this kind of weird Walmart brand cane outfit that they're wearing.
Sure.
I think their mallets look badass. And I kind of like the vignettes, not the when they get called down, their Titantron thing,
yes,
where it's just them hitting the camera, and then then they start walking down, their creepy music hits. I haven't heard it enough to remember what it sounds like.
Yeah,
but in my head, I get it confused with Baron Corbin's new music.
Yes.
Which I will say is probably the best part about Baron Corbin right now.
I would 100% agree with you. I don't know if we'll agree on everything, but I do agree with you on that.
But I like the whole
yeah.
And then like they just look badass. Their squash matches leading up to this have been amazing. Apparently last SmackDown the guy that they were like throwing around was an old ECW.
Was it Dennehy?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Brian Dennehy.
Yes. There you go. Thank
Character actor extraordinaire.
Yeah. He was great in Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, no, this guy, Dennehy, a former ECW guy.
Not to be confused with GCW.
No. Yeah. Don't you dare. There's not nearly as much blood in GCW.
That's true.
Yet.
Spoiler.
I'm going to run at you with the belt just like Jericho.
I already have a bloody nose.
There you go.
Damn
it. But so the of Dennehy was just wonderful, and like they have been looking so strong. I love how Harper slaps Rowan to let him know, hey, it's time to go home.
Right. Yeah, come on, let's roll.
Yeah. And they are crushing it. I think if they can keep this momentum going for more than just a storyline,
right,
they're going to be a hugely dominant tag team in the division.
I hope so. I see a lot of sanity in them. So I don't know. Maybe
they would be a great team to go up against Sanity when they call them up.
But the way that they're starting right now, it kind of reminds me of the Ascension.
Yeah,
for those with recency theory, and we all saw how the Ascension kind of
Although
turned out.
I will say, they look like they're having a whole lot of fun on the Fashion Files now too.
That's true. That's true. So if that's
what they still get to wrestle plenty of house shows as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, so it would be a shame because I missed the Ascension's first call up in WWE. So like I only know them as kind of like the goofy, act that they are now. Like
right.
Like I saw some of the tail end, but like they were already kind of like being brushed to the side
right
when I really started watching. But I do know the vampire fan that sits in the front row of every pay-per-view really loves the Ascension.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Okay. We should meet that guy sometime.
I would love to meet. Apparently he's like related to someone that works for the WWE, and I'm like, that makes sense as to why he can always get front row tickets.
Yep.
I once almost ran into the Lederhosen guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was at a DC pay-per-view. And we were like drinking at the Green Turtle that's attached to the now not Chevy Chase. That's the old bank. Capital One.
Capital One.
Capital One Arena.
Yeah. What's in your wallet?
Yeah. So who do we think is winning?
Well, I, as much as I like Breezango, I got to go with the Bludgeon Brothers. I want to see where it's going. I'm intrigued. I want to see what's next.
Yeah.
I'm going with them, and that's Mark and Smark.
I am with you on that one, both Mark and Smark.
Yeah.
As much as, again, to kind of reiterate, as much as I love Breezango, they clearly have the strength to maintain the level of tag team that they are. WWE just announced that they're going to have a regular reoccurring Fashion Files segment on WWE.com.
Yeah.
I don't think Breezango needs to wrestle right now. And I think they're perfectly fine. Like I love seeing them in ring, but I don't need to see them wrestling as long as they still have their Fashion Files segments.
Yeah.
Like
why not?
Sorry internet fans. The same people that are complaining about what I was talking about earlier. They're still the same people that are complaining about Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah.
Like the Breezango doesn't need it right now, and there's other like Bludgeon Brothers do need it because they don't have something like the Fashion Files to fall back on.
Now, since we were in 100% agreement on that match, I got something to maybe differentiate.
Oh,
how long does the match last? Over under 5 minutes. And that's after they ring the bell.
Right. I in my head I was like, well, this is going to be like a quote unquote big match for the Bludgeon Brothers, so I feel like it's not going to be a straight squash.
Right.
but I still would not be surprised if it was under 5 minutes.
Yeah, I do not see this lasting very long. I think it'll be really quick.
I think we'll get a little bit of a repeat of some of the comedy wrestling that we got in like that Usos match that they had.
Yep.
Where like you had Tyler Breeze, like, you know, where one of the Usos was setting up for their like frog splash thing, whatever they call it, and Tyler Breeze would just roll to the other side of the ring so that Uso brother had to run to the other corner, which is the funniest thing. So I think we're gonna get a couple of those things. We're gonna get a little bit. They're gonna find as much of it as they can get in.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I know, right? At least we disagree on the pre-show match that means nothing.
Exactly.
to our competition.
Right.
Zack Ryder, Mojo Rawley. I'm sure it means something to you.
Yes.
So where do you want to go from here?
You want to go U.S. Championship, or do you want to go to the 4-way?
Actually, I was thinking the 4-way since I was just talking about the Usos. Let's go ahead and hop over to the 4-way tag match. So we have the Usos versus the New Day versus Shelty Bendy and Chad Gable.
Right.
And Rusev and Aiden English all fighting against each other. 4 men in the ring at one time. You can only tag or be tagged by your tag partner.
By the way, happy Rusev Day.
Happy Rusev Day.
Yeah, just want to throw that in there.
I'm so glad that you did that because I was planning on doing that too. And as soon as you said, by the way, I was like, oh shit, he's going to derail it. No, he did it too. Yeah, no, that was going to be the first comment that I made. It was even the first bullet point on my list. I had... Rusev and English have been on fire the last couple weeks.
For sure.
They
a surprising chemistry because I would have never put the two of them together. Kind of like I would have never put Gable and Benjamin together, and you saw how terrible that's working out.
Yeah.
The Rusev English has been just great. Yeah. So and honestly, they're one of my favorites in this match.
Yeah.
From a mark perspective, I'm picking them because I really want to keep this going with the Happy Rusev Day. You know my feeling about the Usos. I didn't pick them last time. It cost me a chance at the belt. Whatever.
Yeah. I hate that you said that because I am also
I'm
going Rusev and English.
Oh man.
I think we're gonna have to get a third person on this show so that there's something going on.
Yeah, they're good. If we get a third person, they'll be like, "Hey, I'm thinking Rusev and English." And we're like, "Oh, come on."
We're going to have to start making the pre-show match mean something just as a tiebreaker.
From a Smark perspective, though,
I'm
kind of leaning towards the New Day again.
Oh,
I don't know. I just something's got to give with the New Day. I mean, at some point, and when we get into our predictions for next year and stuff like that, we're going to go through. Chris and I put together a great list of we'll review 2017 for everybody. Kind of list some of our favorites and then and some of our not so favorites. And then we'll get into 2018, which will be some really cool predictions. We'll kind of go out on a limb, and then some of the things that we're kind of expecting and some things that need to stop and end.
That'll be at the end of this episode, or based on how long we've been going already, might even make it a special episode to come out later in the year.
Yeah, let's do a special episode.
Let's do it live.
It's already planned.
So that'll be a special episode that maybe we put out closer to the end of the year. Maybe for the maybe we'll put it out at the same time as like the Christmas episode of Raw. Or the 25th anniversary of Raw.
There you go.
Which I think I heard is the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. So maybe the Christmas episode.
That'd be cool.
Around Christmas we'll put out our year in review of wrestling and our predictions for next year.
And we should keep our predictions. So then we would do our review of 2018. We'll go back to him and say, how far off were we? Yeah. Samsonite, we were way off.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So oddly enough, my Smark prediction is where we differ here. I think the Usos retain.
Okay.
You know how I feel about the Usos.
Right.
For those of you that didn't listen to the last episode, I'm a huge fan of heel Usos. My as I mentioned, my Mark prediction, I want Rusev and English to win. And like I would love for a Happy Rusev Day celebration of it. How
long have you been a fan of the Usos? Come on, I'm setting you up here. Come on.
Since day one, Itch.
Oh, wow.
No. I hated babyface Usos. I thought they were awful.
Oh, when they came out with their Samoa. hey.
Like the face paint was fine, but like I didn't like their what is that dance called? It's not the shaka, the haka. I think it is what it's called. Like it was fine. I was like, oh, that's cool. They're paying homage to their heritage.
Of course.
But like they were never in sync, and they were never in sync with the music. Now, granted, that was probably because I was watching it on TV.
Sure.
And so there's going to be sync issues at a live event.
Right.
But like, yeah. Except for like when with their like their Goldberg pyro moves, like those were in sync, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But
that reminds me of Goldberg.
But yeah,
I like him.
But no, I've been on Team Uso since about I think the second month of their heel turn.
Okay.
Like when they did the heel thing, I was like, okay, that feels right. And then like once they started kind of like going, it felt like they were just freestyling everything that they were saying. I was like, oh, I like their mic skills.
Yeah.
And then like and beyond, like even before that, I was like, they're fine in the ring.
Sure.
So like once their mic skills like really picked up, and it seemed like they were just going off the cuff.
Yeah.
And like they would do that back and forth, twin mind
hey,
reading
Jay.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that was when I was like, yes, they are using their skills to pay said bills.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
I just think that New Day gets one more run and then they're done.
They seem to be in a very complacent place. Like it's and I wrote this down. It's not that it doesn't look like they don't care, as in like they're just like whatever.
Sure.
But like they're in a place where they know how popular they are.
Right.
So like they're not doing like they're not putting forth maximum effort, and like it plays well into their characters because their characters are supposed to be very lighthearted, like come what may.
Yeah.
But like now they're just coming down to ringside eating pancakes in like catering troughs, which I think is hilarious. But
awesome.
like I'm like, oh wow, they don't care, and like it makes sense that they wouldn't care,
right?
Because they've been there. They're the 4-time champs now?
Yeah.
And they feel the power.
They do.
And like so they don't need it. So like yeah, they do need I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little change up.
We'll see.
A little shake up, if I may.
We'll see.
Maybe a newer day.
Ooh.
Real quick, speaking of New Day, who of the new do you think is going to be competing in this competition? Because only 2 of the 3 guys can compete.
I think Kofi sits out.
Yeah, I feel I would not be surprised. What's funny is on the Wikipedia article it said, the New Day, and in parentheses it always on a tag team it says like the team name and then in parentheses the who's competing.
Right.
And like so it's like the Usos, Jimmy and Jay Uso. the New Day, Big E and Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods, and I was like, wow. So you just decided that Big E is going to be the one that's
no matter what.
I mean, granted, yes,
sure.
Unless he's like injured, it's always Big E. And then I think Xavier Woods been getting a decent push recently. I would not be surprised, and I'll mention this in our predictions episode. But I would not be surprised if like he is like the big push. If they do like disband them, or even just in general in 2018, maybe they go more of the Shield route where they have 2 guys as like tag members, and then they have a singles,
right?
Just in their stable.
Yeah,
like they go more stable than tag team.
I agree.
If I may say,
I agree.
So I think he's the shine. The shining star.
Put him in 205 Live.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, but that's for our next episode. So what else do I have here written? I hate there being this many teams in one match.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like they're doing the tag division dirty, kind of like what they do with the women's division, where they're just like, here, have a 5-way match,
right? Because we got to get all of you in on this, and I'm not going to do 2 different matches. So here,
oddly enough, though, we are getting 2 tag matches in this pay-per-view.
We are,
but we're getting 3.
Yeah,
but you know what? I'll still complain.
There's a lot of tag teams though. I mean, but the last tag match is they're not true tag team partners.
Yeah.
I mean, they are for the match itself, but
yeah.
The other ones are established tag teams.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's just a lot of tag teams.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Yeah, and yet they don't get a lot of time on TV.
No. No.
But yeah, I do like, just to give a little aside, I do like that SmackDown has, like, what is this now, like 2-3 tag storylines going?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically one of them is like kind of at the wayside with, Breezango doing their fashion files, so like it's just vignettes and stuff like that. But still, like, you got the Bludgeon Brothers up and coming.
Yep.
You got all this shit going on with the tag titles. But yeah.
And there's a lot coming up from NXT too.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Authors of Pain.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Sanity.
Yeah.
You've got a whole bunch that are ready to come up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the Revival can't be too long for injury.
That's true. But they're on Raw, but still you may no, or did it get moved to SmackDown? I don't remember.
It's been too long.
United States Championship.
Yes.
How about we move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
USA.
We got Corbin versus Ziggler versus Glorious. And, I mean, me, personally, am a big fan of Glorious.
Yeah.
So, you don't even have to guess who I'm going to mark out for this match, and that is Mr. Glorious. Unfortunately for Ziggler, man, I mean, he gets a championship match, but I feel like everything's just flat with him right now. Like, even him coming to the ring, like, even as a heel, he doesn't even, like, have anything.
I feel like this is just him writing out the rest of his contract.
I agree.
If I remember correctly, I heard his contract's up, like, end of first or second quarter this coming year.
Right.
And from all that I've heard, not that I have a whole lot of, insider ears, but from all that I've heard, he's kind of done with wrestling.
Yeah.
He wants to be a stand-up comic / actor, from what it seems, which is fine. He's got comedy chops. He could do it.
Yeah, sure. And he's been around for years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got some wrestling money.
Yeah, but it definitely feels like he's just thrown in here so that they don't have to make Baron Corbin or Booby Rude look bad.
He's just no longer a show-off.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's what his thing was.
Yeah. He's here to show the world.
Well, I feel so bad for him. I mean, if he's just riding out his contract, it is what it is. But he's definitely someone that you can mark off of this. So it comes down between Corbin and Rude. From a smart perspective, I think it's Corbin. I think he retains. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they're still doing a favor to Corbin.
Yeah.
Even though he's terrible on the mic.
Yeah.
He's pretty generic in the ring.
They every once in a while they give him a funny quip to say, and it's wonderful, but he kind of meanders to get there.
He does.
But like one of his best moments, and I'll reiterate this probably if I remember to on the recap show. But one of his best moments this year was, I think, right after he won the U.S. title, and he was like, "All you guys crying about me winning this, I'm gonna go get in a boat and sail down a river of your tears," or something along. I'll look it up to get the correct wording. But that was like, I was like, you know what, Corbin, if you can keep that up, you're gonna be really good on the mic. And then he didn't. And I was like, oh, that was written for you. Oh, okay. Yeah. But my first thought when I looked over this, I was like, who cares about this match? Like, do you even remember why this feud started?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I can tell you why, because I'm sure someone listening to this is like, well, I remember. It was a lumberjack match a couple of weeks ago, and I forget which one did which, but like Bobby or Baron accidentally bumped into the other one, and then they started like catfighting, and then that's what caused all of the lumberjacks to go nuts. Like...
Whoopity-doo.
And apparently you get a title match out of that.
Right.
And granted, and so I think they're trying to make both Baron and Bobby look strong, and they couldn't figure out how to pin one of them without, looking weak. So they were like, "Oh, let's just throw in somebody else. I know, they've both had beef with Dolph Ziggler. Let's throw him in there for no reason at all."
Exactly.
So yeah, I think Smark-wise, I agree. I think Corbin retains, and I think he, somehow Bobby Roode gets, knocked out of the ring or something like that, and Corbin, hits the end of days on Ziggler.
I can see that.
Something along those lines, so that Corbin retains, Ziggler takes the pin, Bobby Roode still looks strong because they have plans for him because it's Bobby Roode. They have to have plans. If they ruin him, it's going to suck because he was like one of the biggest things in NXT this past year.
Oh yeah. But they've done that before with big names in NXT, so
true.
It wouldn't be a surprise.
I mean, Tyler Breeze was a big name in NXT.
Yeah, exactly.
And it took him about a year to figure out what to do with him.
And we still see how far he got.
Yeah, the Ascension was a big name in NXT.
They were,
and we see how that's going for him. But unfortunately, Mark-wise, I agree with you. The glorious one.
Come on.
Have we disagreed on anything yet?
This is terrible.
Hopefully, we disagree on the women's match because I feel like talking about that next.
I'm up for that.
Okay, so we have Charlotte Flair versus Natalya in a women's SmackDown Championship title match. But it's not just a regular title match. It's also a lumberjack match.
Yes, it is.
Or lumberjane if you're of that persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it right now. I'm more interested in the lumberjacks than the actual competitors in this match.
How many times have we seen Flair versus Natalya? This has happened before.
I was over this feud, what was it, last year, 2 years ago, when they brought back Brett to be Natalya's manager while Ric Flair was still Charlotte's manager.
Right.
Like,
come on.
I don't care about them fighting against each other. I've never been a huge fan of Natalya's, period.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, sorry, but I'm kind of lukewarm on Charlotte right now.
I tell you who I'm not lukewarm on.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan.
Liv Squad.
Oh, man.
I love me some Liv Morgan.
Yes. I am right there with you.
Out of the entirety of the Riot Squad, while we're talking about Liv Morgan, which is to say Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan.
That's correct.
Liv Morgan is the one who has the most, like, WWE, NXT experience.
Yes.
She's been with the company as a whole the longest. And I still don't think she's actually ready to be called up to the main roster.
But that's why it's good that she's in this Riot Squad.
But man. Yeah. But that means that, like, Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan are even. I mean, Sarah Logan, how many times have we before she got called up? How many times had we seen her on TV? I feel like she got more screen time in the Mae Young Classic, even though she had already been signed to NXT.
Right.
I feel like she got more screen time on the Mae Young Classic than she had on NXT before she got called up.
Yeah.
And I have similar things to say about Absolution over on the Raw side.
Oh, you do, huh?
Yeah.
My girl Mandy Rose, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. She's been in 2 televised matches.
But man,
I do love her, and she was great on Tough Enough.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're not talking about Absolution. We're talking about the Riot Squad, which, by the way, should be, if they're going to change the spelling of Ruby Riott to call her up to the main roster, it should have been a Y, not an I.
That would have been cool.
Not 2 T's.
Yeah.
Riot. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about this with you. Like, was it too soon to call up the Riot Squad and Absolution? Since we're talking about it.
I think,
like, Paige's return was cool, and it was cool that she brought people with her.
Right. I think they had to do it because NXT is just flooded with women talent right now.
They do have a ton of women.
So I think they had to do it, and it was logical from that perspective that you're already bringing up people on Raw, bring them up on SmackDown as well, and it kind of works out from that perspective. So it kind of, the timing, I think, was perfect for it, just to kind of relieve NXT of some of that talent.
I do remember a lot of people were fingers crossed that Peyton Royce and Billie Kay were going to be, like, when they saw the 2 women, the 2 women that were brought up from NXT for Raw, they were like, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay?
Yeah.
Huh? And, like, as sad as I am that they weren't called up, like, they're still in the title picture in NXT.
Yeah.
And, like, I would love to see a Peyton Royce NXT champ.
I
love me some Peyton.
I think it'll happen.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Ember Moon is someone that's going to hold on to that title for long like Asuka did. So.
I wouldn't be surprised if, like, TakeOver is Peyton versus Ember Moon, and Peyton takes it.
Count me in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
The only thing that would trip that up is Nikki Cross coming in to that as well, and it's like a triple threat because they are not above doing that.
Right.
But I still think out of the 3 of them, Peyton Royce is probably the safest, quote unquote, safest
for sure.
But this isn't a TakeOver podcast.
My mark and smark for this one,
yeah,
Charlotte. The only way Charlotte loses is if there's some sort of collusion from the Lumberjacks to take Charlotte out to let Natalya win.
Because Natalya has been trying to be best friends with all of the Lumberjacks.
Correct. So that's the only way that Natalya wins. I don't know. Mark and smark, it's Charlotte for me.
Unfortunately, samesies.
God damn. Oh man, we've got 2 more matches to go.
Yeah.
And we're still all in agreement.
And I feel like this next one, actually, I feel like the next 2 are probably going to be both in agreement too, because I feel like it's probably pretty easy to guess. But let's go ahead with the WWE Championship title match.
Right.
With AJ Styles versus the modern day... Or I did the rolling R at the wrong place.
You did, yeah.
Maharaja.
There you go.
Yeah, because there's no R at the end of day.
It's okay.
Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
The first words that I wrote on this one in my notes was, "Dear God, I hope this is the end of the feud."
Yeah, me too.
Because as even though AJ has been the man to bring the best out of Ginger.
Oh my God.
You know,
yes.
The girl that was trapped on Gilligan's Island,
oh,
Ginger. No. Even though he's been the one to bring out the best in Jinder Mahal, and I was even like with the initial Jinder being champ, I was swept up in the hashtag don't hinder Jinder.
Sure.
But very quickly was like, oh, okay, Heat and.
Yeah, we knew why they had to do it,
yeah.
and it was understandable.
Yeah,
and they've pushed WWE throughout India right now, and they're doing really well from a financial standpoint. I know my stock has gone way up for WWE, so that's been fantastic. So that part of it, I have not minded having Jinder as the champion, but he needs to go away.
Yeah, I've liked Jinder, but I did like Jinder. But a lot of his promos got really uncomfortable, and I think it's fine if he kind of disappears for a little bit. Do we think one of the Sings is going to die tonight?
Possibly.
I don't know if they didn't die during the Punjabi prison match.
Right.
I don't know if they can be killed.
Oh my gosh.
But how else are you going to one up, that shit? Because
I don't know.
Speaking of the Sings, I did like clever AJ Styles using social media to his advantage.
Yes.
It's like, you guys hate Jinder Mahal?
Oh, how come you were walking with him there? Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
This to me, and I know you're not huge on football, but this match to me is like the last preseason game before the season starts, or the last regular season game before the playoffs start, that you just don't want to get hurt. You don't want your main players to get hurt before the big time. And to me, I don't want AJ Styles to get hurt in a dumb match like this.
Yeah.
Before Royal Rumble, before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So, because it's my thinking that he's going to keep this belt till WrestleMania. And please don't get hurt. Please don't ruin it over some stupid Singh brothers hitting you in the knees, or Jinder like just throwing his bulky muscles at you or whatever. Just, I hope this is a squash. I hope it's done quickly. It won't be, but I just, the one thing I hope for is that AJ Styles doesn't get hurt. Of course, my mark, AJ Styles wins. My smark, AJ Styles wins.
Yep.
I mean, I think we're in agreement, and there's nothing wrong with that, to be honest.
No.
So,
like, Jinder got what he worked for. He earned that title shot.
Yeah.
He got to have it for way longer than any of us ever expected him to keep it.
Surprised at 2017 for sure.
Yeah. But I don't think I think this is his not legal, but like his contractual rematch, and I think that's all they're giving him.
Yep.
Just the rematch.
Yep.
I think again, because it's AJ, we'll get a good match out of it. because that's what AJ does.
But please don't get hurt.
Yeah. And then, so just to make it official, I'm in agreement, Smark and Mark-wise. AJ, the phenomenal champ.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And so let's close it out with what I think we're both in agreement is probably going to be the main event, even though it hasn't been announced. Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn with 2 special guest referees.
That's right.
Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan.
Never happened before. They're doing new things on SmackDown. Daniel said this.
Is this really the first time that the WWE has had 2 refs?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, they've had matches where refs get knocked out and then another ref comes in. But
2 official refs?
2 official refs, not to my knowledge. But, I mean, somebody else out there in the internet world might be able to find something. But either way, Daniel Bryan said it on SmackDown, so it must be true.
There you go. And as we know from Byron Saxton, even if it happens somewhere else, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Oh, man, listening to Daniel Bryan on commentary, just fucking slamming Byron Corbin. God damn it. Byron. Yeah.
Saxton.
Byron Saxton. Not Corbin.
Yep.
Too many B names.
Yep.
Yep. Check. But yeah, just God, that was probably the best part about that match was listening to Daniel Bryan on commentary.
Yeah, I agree.
And Corey Graves just being like, "Yes, exactly.
I like this guy.
Yeah, we need you on commentary. Yeah. Get rid of Byron."
Yeah. Because I do think Corey Graves is probably the best on both shows now. Yeah,
he totally deserved to be the guy on both shows,
and good for him.
Yeah,
having to retire from wrestling because of concussions and turning it around as a commentator, just well done. Hats off to Corey.
And he has 3 shows on the network.
Yeah.
I mean, I think only one of them is current, but still,
this guy, great job.
Yeah,
I mean, I know he doesn't listen, but if he does, hats off.
If you ever accidentally do,
from the GCW crew, congratulations, man! You're doing a great job.
You get our Lifetime Achievement Award that we've never made.
Keep on keeping on.
But yeah, so I will say this match is the one with the most actual story behind it.
I'm looking forward to it.
This one has been brewing for not just since Survivor Series, but it's been brewing pretty much since almost since the brand split, really.
Right.
Because if you look at Sami Zayn, all of this is stuff that's been compounded since the brand split, because the whole reason why he moved to SmackDown was because it's the land of opportunity, because he was getting squandered in Raw, and he came over, he was promised that he was going to be getting matches, he was getting pushed, and then he feels like he's gotten nothing.
Yep.
So that's why he his demeanor changed, and he was like, fuck it, I'm going to start helping my old best friend.
Yep.
Fuck Shane. You know, this is the Sammy and Kevin show.
Yep. No, I agree. And this to me, and who knows, we'll figure out in the reviews, but I could probably skip everything else and just watch this and be satisfied with the pay-per-view because, I mean, the other matches, they're fine, and I'll watch them, don't worry.
Yeah.
But this was the one I'm most looking forward to. And I see all over the place the prediction of, well, McMahon is turning heel, so Shane's going to turn heel, and he's going to help Zayn and Owens win, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? I'm going to go on a limb. What if Daniel Bryan turns? And people say Daniel Bryan can't turn heel. Well, we saw Hell No, did we not? Yeah. Team Hell No.
He even mentioned Hell No a couple weeks ago as a tease.
Right. So I am going out on a limb. I am not going to be like the other podcasts, like the other write-ups, and saying, oh, Shane McMahon is going to turn heel, and maybe he does. I don't care. But I'm going to go out and on record say that Daniel Bryan's going to turn. Yeah. Daniel Bryan's going to be the one that helps them in their Yet movement. And I really think he's going to be their quote-unquote support or manager to help get them over the top. So they have an in. Zayn and Owens have an in. Yeah. And I would love to see that and have Zayn and Owens take over SmackDown.
Yeah.
Just like Daniel Bryan took over Raw.
Yeah. I think the people that you're talking about with the whole the Shane thing, I think they're coming from a standpoint of, well, WWE likes to do these just out of nowhere swerves.
Right.
And that's fine and dandy for you to be, what's the word? Kind of preconditioned like that.
Right.
But I'm looking at it from, a storyteller perspective. What story have they been trying to tell?
Yeah.
And not trying to predict the swerve, because I'm trying to just follow the story, and I agree with you that it makes more sense to me. I feel like Daniel Bryan has been planting seeds, that he's been orchestrating this to kind of go in this general direction. Maybe not this exact route, but he's the one that made sure that Kevin and Sami didn't lose their jobs.
Right.
He's the one that made sure they had this opportunity. And now when he sees that Shane McMahon has inserted himself as a special guest referee, he's like, well, I need to protect my investment.
Yep.
And I'm going to do something unprecedented and come in as a second guest referee. And I would not be surprised if by the end of it, we see that, somehow, maybe Shane McMahon gets bumped out and Daniel Bryan allows for some shenanigans to go on that make it so Owens and Zayn win the match.
Yeah.
Now, even from a smart perspective, not even thinking about the storyline and stuff like that, there's no way that they fire Owens and Zayn.
Agreed.
So there's no way that they can lose this match.
Correct.
Because it would be insane for them to fire, because the stipulation isn't just that they get fired from SmackDown Live, but they get fired from everything WWE related. No Raw, no NXT, no 205 Live somehow.
Right.
I don't even. Sami might be under 205, but there's no way Kevin's going to 205 Live.
No.
Yeah, they can't even go to the mixed match, whatever Facebook Live thing.
Right.
Which Sami Zayn has been advertised to be on.
Interesting.
But yeah, so
I mean,
but here's the thing: if that does happen, if Daniel Bryan, causes that and aligns himself with Sami and Zayn. By the way, I think it would be great if whatever whatever happens, we get some sort of ending when Owens won the Universal title and Triple H came in and did the surprise pedigree on Rollins.
Right.
I would not be surprised, or / I would mark out so hard if something happens and at the end of the match, Daniel goes to take his ref shirt off and there's a Yep shirt underneath it.
I can see that.
Would that be so cool?
I can see that. And that to me, I mean, you've got someone in Daniel Bryan that is already at odds with WWE.
Yeah.
Supposedly is on his way out because he wants to go back and wrestle and WWE won't let him. Why not use that as a storyline?
Yeah.
Why not say, you know what? You may be general manager. I'm tired of listening to you. I'm tired of this. Go back after the Authority again and go back through the Authority through Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
And honestly, because I know this show can't end like this.
Yeah.
I know you're going to pick Zayn and Owens.
Yeah.
I'm going to swerve it.
Oh.
Because if you're going to go there, then I'm going to go the other way.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that Randy Orton
Uh-huh.
and Shinsuke win.
Okay.
But there's a twist at the end where KO and Zayn don't get fired.
Ah.
I don't know what it's going to be.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a twist at the end because Daniel Bryan goes to Authority and makes sure of it. And then there's some setup between Shane and Daniel Bryan.
Oh.
Where instead, Vince will come out and instead of saying to them that they're fired, I think he goes to Shane and says, Shane, you're fired.
Ooh.
And so then that totally negates the fact that, because I think, one way or another, I think Shane helps, Sami and KO lose.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I don't think there's a firing. But just for the sake of the show, because we can't be in agreement on everything.
Right.
I'm going with the Swerve.
Okay.
I'm going with Orton and Shinsuke.
This will be exciting.
Because we need something.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
the people listening, the 5 people listening to this podcast.
Hey, we had like 30 downloads.
Did we really?
Yeah.
Dude, air high five on that. Man.
This is going to be the make it or break it episode, though, because those 30 could have just been the people that like just kind of like blindly download everything that the Geek Out. Yeah. I thought this was going to be a book review for the new Kyle Starks book.
Who's Timmy C?
Yeah. See the artist on Squirrel Girl?
Hey.
What? I like Squirrel Girl.
So that's what I think. I think.
Yeah, okay.
I think that it's going to be a Daniel Bryan twist, not a Shane McMahon twist, and I just pulled a twist on you.
I applaud you for your creativity and your willingness to dive on that sword.
Why not?
Yeah.
Go out on a limb.
Yeah, you know what? That's what this show needs.
Yes.
I shake your hand,
yes.
sir.
And I want that belt. I want it.
It's a pretty belt.
Yes, it's very pretty. It's got some West Virginia chrome on it. I see that.
Yeah, it does. So real quick, does this lead to some kind of story where maybe, and I'm going to be all those other podcasts, where we get Daniel Bryan back in the ring, even if it's just for one last match? All the rumors are that every doctor he's seen has cleared him except for the WWE doctors.
Right.
And is that, sub-question, is that because they're worried about him becoming another Chris Benoit type? Because he's like, most injured man or most concussed man in WWE right now.
Can you imagine the risk?
Yeah.
I mean, if anything happened to Daniel Bryan, didn't even have to be a Benoit moment.
Mm-hmm.
If he comes back to the ring,
mm-hmm.
it is a huge reward for the company.
Yeah.
But if he gets hurt
mm-hmm.
and he is paralyzed or brain injured or can no longer function the way that he was, can you imagine the fallout from everyone, from the fans to the shareholders
mm-hmm.
to all of it? I mean, I think
just the media backlash that they would get too.
How could they put him back in that situation?
The same people that for the past 3 years have been yelling, "Let him wrestle," let him wrestle, are going to be the same ones that are yelling, "How dare you let him wrestle?"
So that's why I go back to when Daniel Bryan did not win the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Deserved, in my opinion, a spot at WrestleMania and had the Raw TakeOver
mm-hmm.
and forced the hand, because they were not going to put him in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And he forced the hand to have that match between him and Triple H in order to get, so he had 2 matches at WrestleMania, which in my opinion was one of the best WrestleManias of my memory of all time.
Yeselmania, if you will.
Yeah, there you go. I think the same thing happens. I think Daniel Bryan,
mm-hmm.
he's at a situation where he's coming up on the end of his contract. He's going to have to force the hand of WWE to get back in that ring.
Yeah.
And I think he does. And I think this is the start of it. I think they're going to use this as a storyline,
mm-hmm.
just like they used the CM Punk contract as a storyline with him and Cena. I think in doing so and adding this as a storyline, you make it real to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's predetermined, even though it's, call it what you want.
Yeah.
You make it real to the fans when you make real life situations a part of the storyline.
Yeah.
Just even like going back to Matt Hardy and Lita
mm-hmm.
and Edge, the same thing. People get invested, and so in my opinion, that's what they need.
Yeah.
Does Daniel Bryan come back and wrestle?
I totally understand WWE still saying no.
Yeah.
Just from a legal and covering their asses standpoint, and also covering Daniel Bryan's ass, even though he doesn't want to. He seems to be more than ready to die in the ring.
Yeah,
and good for him. In that regard, like if he's ready to take that risk. But I totally understand WWE not being ready to take that risk.
I don't know.
If it means he leaves the company next year and goes to Ring of Honor, or joins the Bullet Club with Cody Rhodes. Because that seems... Cody Rhodes has said that for their little 10,000 seat arena thing. He would love for that to be the main event: Cody Rhodes versus Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I'd watch.
Yeah, Yeah, so would I.
I think
I might end up going to that show if that happens.
I don't think WWE lets him back in the ring.
Yeah,
I think it would have to be something monumental where they sign a very public agreement that will remove any kind of liability.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the only chance. But you know what? Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
And Daniel Bryan has forced the issue and pushed it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, this is ratings gold.
Yes.
And something that WWE desperately needs is for this to be the next storyline, is whether or not you allow him to come back. Because they could even do something where they fire him because they're not going to allow him to come back, and then bring him back and let him wrestle.
Yeah.
This is something that I can definitely get behind, and something as we get into the 2018 predictions, I am really looking forward to. If they play it right, hats off to creative. If they don't, they blew an enormous opportunity for ratings gold, in my opinion.
You heard it here first, folks. So is there anything else you want to say before we get into the pay-per-view itself?
I don't think so. I mean, right. I think we've got it all covered.
I think so too. We've gone about an hour talking about our predictions for this pre-show, or for this show, not just the pre-show.
No, you're right.
So we're gonna go ahead and pause it here.
Okay.
We're gonna watch the the whole pay-per-view
to include the pre-show.
Yeah.
Mojo.
Yeah. And then we'll pick it back up in another minute or so. You know, I mean, for you listening at home, it'll be mere seconds, but for us, it'll be hours.
Yes. Just like always.
Yes, just like always. So,
but good luck on your pick,
and you too, sir. May the best man win.
Yes, of course.
Sir. Or I guess should I say, may the best Mark win?
Oh, there you go.
So we'll see you after the pay-per-view.
See you.
Well, we're back, and that was a pay-per-view.
Live from Boston.
Yeah.
I tell you, birthplace of yours truly, by the way.
Oh.
In case you didn't know.
I did not know.
See, you learned something new.
Happy city of origin.
Unfortunately, it was not a happy Rusev Day, but we'll get into that later. Yes. Yes. So where do you want to start? You want to start with the Mojo versus Zack Ryder?
Yeah, let's see if we can just go in chronological order.
I got you covered.
So I was Smark right.
Yep.
And it was I want to say that was a good match. I was not expecting that good of a match on a pre-show. You know, like I like it when they surprise you with like the pre-show quality matches. Like that earlier this year when the New Day and the Usos, I think it was.
That was a fantastic
That was like
match,
the match of the night,
yep.
And it was on the pre-show. I'm not saying that the Mojo vs. Ryder was the match of the night.
No.
But like the expectation was low on them.
Yes.
Fucking 2 broski boots.
Yeah, and that was probably the best part of the whole match for me.
Yeah.
Other than that, I thought the match was very forgettable.
Yeah.
Like, it was just very meh for me. Like, looking back on it, I was like, they did wrestle, didn't they?
Yeah.
Mojo won. Okay, cool. It's just, I don't know if it was because of the lack of the build-up, because it did feel kind of rushed to me, the whole build-up, but, honestly, I just thought it was forgettable. And do we really need commercials in the middle of that match? Do we really need to know that WWE shops got their holiday stuff on sale in the middle of that match?
I found myself asking the same question, and I think it's because that's the pre-show is a free show, and they stream it on services beyond the WWE network. Like, you can watch it on Facebook Live.
Sure.
And a couple other things. So they kind of treat it like it's just like they treat it like it's NXT, or just a regular weekly show with limited commercials.
But could we do it like before or after?
Right?
Like in the middle of the match, it gives that feel like you're watching like Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what they're trying to get across. The other thing I wanted to bring up about this match,
or maybe, granted, it would work better if they said this, but be like, hey, if you get the pay-per-view, these matches are uninterrupted.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
but $9.99 a month.
Yeah, but they don't say that, so it's pointless.
I did find it funny. I've got Fios at home, and they still push commercials for the pay-per-views.
Oh, really?
And I think to myself, I'm like, who buys this? I mean, who spends $50 for this?
WWE doesn't even push getting it through your cable provider anymore.
Right.
They don't even compare the price.
Right.
I remember when I first started, they were like, you could pay your cable provider $60, or you could save $50 and pay us $9.99,
right.
And the first month's free. So this pay-per-view, the next whatever the next pay-per-view is, that's free.
Exactly.
They still push that, but they don't compare it anymore. And I'm
right.
like, yeah, I think the last time they did it was like for WrestleMania.
Yeah,
and that was even the first time they had done it in a couple months.
Yeah, and I think the one thing to help, because Mojo won, right?
Yes.
And now we'll get to see where his kind of heel direction goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think more fans could get behind Mojo if he had a cooler finisher.
Yeah,
like if he had something that made people go, "Wow," I think that could help.
Yeah, or something that made the fans go, "Woo."
You know it. But I mean, if he had something that could really add that element.
Right.
And I think that's lacking right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I mean, we'll see what direction he goes. I mean, I think that's the big question mark that comes out of this match. I mean, Zack Ryder, I don't think it makes a difference whether he won or lost.
Yeah.
But
he's the one that is more than capable of standing on his own.
And who knows? Maybe he could join, Breezango or something. He could be part of the fashion police or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But with Mojo, I mean, I just think that we need something to kind of get behind. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But
I didn't watch his little phone promo, but I did see on Twitter a couple people being like, "Wow, I was not expecting his promo skills to be so high."
Right.
I did like how I want to sneak this in before we move on. I did like how strong Zack Ryder looked during the first, the opening stages of the match.
Yeah.
The quote unquote shine, if I may use an industry term, really made him look good in this match.
Yeah, and again, I mean, he can go in any different direction after this. Yeah. I mean, but with Mojo, we'll see.
Maybe he'll go after the Intercontinental title. Well, no, the World title, I guess, is is on his brand.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, he was the Intercontinental champ a little bit over a year ago.
You know it.
Yeah,
that was
one day.
That was surprising.
Yes,
but I did think that was a cool moment that the whole, they brought in his dad and stuff like that. That was a cool moment. I mean, hats off to WWE, and it was a swerve. We did. Yeah. I didn't see it coming. I don't want to speak for you, but I didn't see that.
I didn't see it coming.
It was good for him.
And that's how we also brought back Maurice the next day. She came in and slapped his dad.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Fun fact, just because I remembered it, and this is a wrestling podcast. So on the Wikipedia, it says how long the Miz's Intercontinental title reign is,
right.
And there's a big old asterisk next to it, and it says days total, and then asterisk days what's the word observed by WWE, and it's 1 day off, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out why there was this dispute, I guess.
Sure.
And I figured it out. It's because of that 1 day reign of Zack Ryder, because Miz won it won it back in the rematch.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's still weird.
Yeah, it's almost like it shouldn't count. It should restart.
Yeah. Also, I mean, but then at the same time, I kind of lean towards seeing it that way, because I also don't think that it should count as another tally on how many reigns you've had.
That's
if
true.
You win it back
the next day.
Yeah, or even just in your contractual rematch.
Right.
I feel like that should just kind of be like, oh, okay, you didn't have it for those days, but it's not like, oh, they got 3 title reigns. Like, no, you have 1.
Right.
Like in that regard, Charlotte only has 3 women's championship reigns.
That makes sense
between the two brands.
Yeah, I agree.
Instead of the 6 that she has right now.
Yeah. Well, she is the queen.
It's true.
We'll roll into the next match, which is the kickoff match was the United States Championship match.
I will say the most surprise, like especially ultimately at the end of the match, by the time the bell rang, the most surprising match on the card for me.
Yeah, and I think this was actually the match of the night. I know I'm kind of shooting the load early, but I think this was the match of the night for me.
Yeah.
For the surprise element and because of the action in ring.
It was.
I mean, I was thoroughly impressed, and honestly, how great is Bobby Roode's intro?
Right.
I mean, to start a pay-per-view with Glorious.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a better beard than him.
Yeah.
But him coming out there doing his thing is fantastic. I mean, it's great.
Did I told you that I got to see his entrance live, right?
I don't remember.
No,
remind me.
I was at Takeover Brooklyn this most recent year when he lost to why am I blanking on Drew? When he lost to Drew
McIntyre.
Yeah. But yeah, so I got to see Glorious live in person from the nosebleeds.
And it was
glorious.
Right.
Except the I'm sure you couldn't tell this by watching it on the network, but like because I was live, I got to see like there's fog machines involved in his entrance, and they were doing a terrible job of actually covering the stage. Like only like half of the stage was covered, and I was like, "Come on, guys!"
But on TV, we didn't.
On TV, I'm sure it looked fine.
Oh, it was great.
Also, the Titantron kept cutting out, but I'm sure they cut away well.
Right, they just focused in on him for those.
Yeah,
and I did get a laugh when Corbin came out, and he's walking down, and some kid on the side, it says something to him, and he comes up and holds the belt in the kid's face, and the kid goes, "Yeah, but you still suck." I laughed out loud with that. Typically, with intros, they are what they are, but that made me laugh out loud because the kid has to be like 10 years old,
right?
And he's showing his belt. He's like, "Yeah, well, you still suck."
Still real.
And Corbin was like, and then walked to the ring. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Speaking of Corbin's entrance, so we live in the great state of Northern Virginia.
That's true.
And during Corbin's entrance, a sign got highlighted or highlit, if I may, in the front row. That was advertising Nova Pro Wrestling,
yes.
Which is my favorite indie outfit in in the area, but also that I've been to.
Sure.
So props to Nova Pro for someone sneaking in a sign,
getting a shout out there.
I was watching or I was checking the Twitter, and people were all the Nova Pro guys that I follow on Twitter were going nuts. They were like, "Oh my god!" And then like the guy that was holding the sign tweeted out like a half hour later, "They took my sign away because they don't like it when you advertise for other promotions."
Right. but it worked. I mean, it got in.
But
so.
yeah, there's screenshots aplenty.
Yes.
So go Nova Pro, and also go see Nova Pro. They have a show coming up on December 28th.
Okay.
It's a Thursday show. It's going to be streamed on Powerbomb.tv if you can't be there in person. But
and where might one go to this?
You can get tickets through their Facebook page. Just search Nova Pro Wrestling on Facebook. Search for the event. I think it's called Such Great Heights. Just look for the one that's marketed as December 28th, and they'll have a link to where you can buy tickets, or you can buy tickets in person. I believe it's going to be at the Volunteer Fire Department in Annandale, Virginia. Again, December 28th. Bell is around 7:00 in the evening.
And who knows? You might run into one or both of us.
Yeah, I am definitely going to be there.
I mean, it's entirely possible. So we might see you there.
Yeah. This match was really good.
Yes.
I mean, you got Bobby Roode, who's a great in-ring performer. You got Ziggler, who is always entertaining to watch, especially when he's getting his ass kicked. He's a great seller.
Yes.
If I may also use another industry term.
No, I'm with you.
Although I think everyone can understand, even if you don't know the quote-unquote industry terms, like selling, I think you can figure out what I'm saying.
Who's buying?
Me. I'm buying.
I dog Corbin. You know that.
Yeah. So do I.
But I got to say that deep six.
Oh, the deep six looks so good.
Well, he hit it last night or tonight. Sorry, my day's just a run all together. Yeah. But he hit that, and I was floored. I was like, whoa. And I'm surprised that didn't end the match. But that was one of those moves that, I mean, for as much as I dog him, he made it happen. And I thought he was very entertaining, very good. All three of them had good chemistry. Now, I say that, but they all have wrestled each other over the last couple months on SmackDown. So that's kind of expected, especially when it came down to Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Yeah. They've had their plenty of matches. I mean, Dolph Ziggler was the first jobber to Roode when he came up from NXT. But it really was a well-done match, a surprise ending.
Yes. And I think that was probably the reason why it was the first match, to give you that, like, oh, anything can happen at this pay-per-view.
Yes. The false sense of security that we soon found out was just false.
Yeah.
But the crowd was really behind Bobby, as was I, of course.
Of course.
And I really thought he won it there at the end.
Yeah.
Before he got pulled out of the ring, he hit the glorious DDT, and I said, "That's it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes.
1, 2, what?
Yeah. But I gotta say, I'm fine with Ziggler winning. You and I had talked, at the pre-show, about how, this is kind of the beginning of the end for Ziggler. He's going to go off in the sunset, and he's going to, but maybe this means he sticks around, or maybe this means he puts Bobby over, with a belt or something.
Maybe they're just trying to do right by him. Give him one last title reign before he leaves, or like you said, it's incentive for him to stay a little bit longer. Either way, like I finished, or that match was one of those ones where I was like, I wasn't expecting that, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And like even if Corbin had won, even though I dog him, like I still would have been fine with it because of like, what we had talked about in the pre-show. Like I get it. Maybe it's not his time yet. Maybe this is a way to springboard Bobby into like a different scene, but I could totally see like Ziggler winning the rematch.
Yeah.
So like he's like, "Oh, look at me, I'm so tough," and then Bobby's like, "Hey, you didn't pin me,
and you're not glorious."
And then maybe we get a really good match out of them, even though we've I'm starting. It'd be nice to see them split away for a bit, because like at this point it's been like who's Bobby Roode gone up against? Ziggler and Mike Kanellis are the only ones that and Corbin,
who is MIA.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know much about his personal life, but he recently came out and said that he's been like addicted to like pain pills or something like that, and has been rehabbing. He's been doing dark matches, house shows, and he was involved in that lumberjack match that spurred on the whole Corbin Bobby Roode thing. So he's still around, but yeah, like he's been fighting his demons, if I may use, I guess that's an industry phrase. God damn, I'm the industry guy.
So that to me was the match of the night. We both had that wrong.
Yeah.
We both thought that Bobby Roode was going to be the winner, but we're both okay with the result. I mean, it's fine. Ziggler. Tag team match.
If I may just jump in, I don't think there's a single match here that I was like, the fuck? With the ending,
right?
Yeah, I think all of them I'm okay with how they ended it, even if I didn't predict it correctly.
I would agree. Tag team match.
This was beautiful. It was a cluster, because there's just it's always going to be kind of a mess when there's that many people in the ring, but was done really well. Especially like once you got past the halfway point where you have guys falling out of the ring, and you only have like two guys going at it at one time. Fucking Aiden English looked so good in this match.
He did. So did Gable.
Yeah.
I again was dogging Gable on the pre-show. I guess I got to start dogging more guys, and and then they'll really put it forward.
What you're doing is you're setting the bar low so that you can be impressed by them, and then you're like, oh man, they don't set the bar.
Especially with the suplex on Big E, I was like, wow. I was impressed.
There was a time, one of those suplexes, I think Gable did a suplex to Aiden English.
Yeah, and he landed right on his head.
I was like, oh,
yeah,
he's dead.
Yeah, and I will say that and I don't think we've talked about this yet, but having Corey Graves and Byron Saxton, they were fantastic, especially when Rusev comes out and Graves goes, "Hey, Byron, when's your birthday?" and before he can even answer, he goes, "Cancel it, it's Rusev Day."
Yeah. Oh, my God. Corey Graves is a treat.
He reminds me of when they were putting CM Punk on the announce, and CM Punk did a great job. But Corey Graves is taking another step. I'm
sad that I never got to see Corey Graves wrestle. I mean, I could go back and watch it,
of course,
because it's like the first season of NXT or whatever. But like, I'm so happy that I get to hear him on commentary, because like as awful as commentary can be sometimes, because I know that's one of the big sticking points of like diehard fans, is that like, I hate listening to commentary.
Vintage Randy Orton.
Or all they do is just sell their products and stuff like that. But like listening to Corey Graves, I feel like I might get some flack for making this comparison, but I feel like Corey Graves is like is what like this generation's like JR could be.
No.
You know, or no?
No. There is no other JR.
Oh, well, that's what I thought the flack was going to be. Like, you know, I'm not saying that he is a JR, but like he's like he
really
he's filling that seat of like just like someone that like just gets it on the commentary table. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows what he's doing on commentary. He's not just sitting there to be a puppet to the voice in his ear.
He's an upgrade from JBL.
That's for sure.
For sure. But JR's an icon.
I know.
I don't know if Corey Graves is going to get to the point, but he's on his way.
Yeah, he's got
very
like
entertaining.
He's got like 50 years to prove me right.
That's true. And follow us on that podcast whenever we get back to it. We have record that you did say it.
Yeah. Is Corey Graves the next JR?
But the crowd really wanted to celebrate Rusev Day.
Oh my God!
And unfortunately, it didn't happen.
I made a point to say that the crowd was behind every single tag team. At some point, the crowd was super behind every single tag team except Shelton and Gable.
Yeah,
they got crickets.
Well, they got behind Gable.
Yeah.
But Shelton, I tell you, I don't.
Shelty B.
I don't know if this is really what he signed up for. I don't know. I don't know what his expectation was coming back. Yeah. But I have a feeling that the indie scene would probably be a whole lot better for him at this point. Just because it's very forgettable right now. I mean, and I have a feeling that they're gonna, I don't know. I got a bad feeling it's gonna turn into like the Mojo. Zack Ryder thing where they're gonna have a pre-show match between Shelton Benjamin and Gable, and then it's gonna be like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
It's a shame because if you go back the WWE about 10 years ago, I mean, Shelton Benjamin ain't no stopping me, no. He was very entertaining. A lot of great movesets, a little bit of a high flyer all around the ring. But right now, it's just
apparently very quiet on the mic.
Very flat. Yeah. But he was always in that Intercontinental U.S. Championship kind of feel. So, but anyway, as you saw, the big whoop, Usos won. Meh.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
yeah, they're more of the boo-sos for me. That's terrible.
That's what I used to call them.
I'm just not
for the Uso penitentiary.
Yeah, since day one-ish. Anyway,
day one is H.
So honestly, that's about all I got for that match. Yeah. I thought it was. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was okay. I think there was only a couple really memorable moments, but we're not going to look back at this pay-per-view and say, "Oh yeah, the tag match."
Except to maybe be like, guys, Rusev and English. I feel like that this pay-per-view is like where you see that like the true tipping point of like, oh, they're over.
Yeah.
Like you could feel it in the SmackDowns leading up to this, no doubt. It's not like they just like, turned on a dime.
Right.
But like this was the point where you were like, oh shit, they have something here.
They're definitely more over than New Day, I think, going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, because New Day's kind of like a little stale right now.
I think this is going to be the beginning of the end. I think 2018.
And also, like this is where they hinted at. I want to say they kind of hinted at kind of a face turn for Rusev.
Yeah.
So like that in terms of those two things that I just mentioned, that's how this pay-per-view might be memorable for this tag for the tag match.
Yeah. And how do you not put Xavier Rhodes in that match?
Right? I almost slapped you. I was like, "Hey, look who's not in this match."
I know, right? It's just I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I think, it is what it is.
But at the same time, I feel like Kofi hasn't been wrestling too much recently. I think he was like nursing an injury.
Yep.
So I guess he was fine. Like, hey, I'm good to go. Let's do this.
Yep.
So,
so the next match is the women's match. Charlotte, Natalya. Predictable.
Yeah.
I feel like that match focused too much on the Riot Squad than even the actual match itself.
Yeah, the match was clearly a way to just further the story with the Riot Squad. I did like how Natty like figured out that she could just keep pushing Charlotte out and the Riot Squad would go after her. But as Tom Phillips is wont to say, one too many times into the well.
Yes.
You
know? Kind of like Liv Morgan dressing up like kind of like a Harley Quinn look. Like that's been done.
Yeah.
So, but she did look hot.
Yeah. You know what she needs to bring back? Space Jam ring gear. She only wore it once on TV, to my knowledge,
right?
And it was glorious.
Yeah. And at one point during the match, Byron, and I'm going back to the commentary just because it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Byron's, asking Corey Graves about his vision, and he goes, "Byron, I have 2013 vision, okay?"
That means I'm better than you.
I mean, it's very good. That kind of stuff keeps the match entertaining, especially one that's kind of boring and predictable. I mean, this one was definitely more about the Lumberjacks than it was about anything else. They did tease Money in the Bank, with Carmella cashing it in. I thought maybe she would cash it in, and we didn't really talk about that on the pre-show, but it was something that I did have in the back of my mind that it might happen, but obviously there was too many women in the match. So
and when she was cashing in, I was like, oh, she's cashing in before the match is over. She thinks she's Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Turn this into a 3-way.
Oh yeah. But alas, there was none of that.
Was it Liv that came in or who was it that like stopped her from cashing it in? Someone ran in. One of the Lumberjacks ran in and stopped her. I want to say it was someone on the Riot Squad. I've already forgotten.
Yeah. That's how memorable that match was.
Also, did you catch that spot where Liv accidentally hit Sarah Logan?
Yes. Yes. And it, they didn't make any,
Yeah. I mean, granted, in that situation, shit's going to happen.
That's true.
In a real dogfight like that, there's bound to be some friendly fire.
Got to keep your head on a swivel.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But Charlotte wins. We both predicted that one to happen. It was pretty straightforward.
Now, after the match...
Yes, with Natalya.
They interviewed Natalya, and now my initial response was, this feels like one of those speeches that someone gives right when they turn heel. Natalya's been heel for a while. Why are we getting this speech? I feel like this is almost the same speech that she gave like a year ago when she turned heel. And then I saw on Twitter people being like, "Oh man, this is like." One of my friends on Twitter was like, "Oh, is she gonna spell out TNA to the screen and then walk out just like Brett did with WCW?"
I think that's it.
Yeah,
I think that's it for her.
Is this her leaving the company?
I think so. Whether it's for personal reasons or to kind of move along and maybe jump indie or something. I mean, I think she's tired she's run her course.
She's tired of her gimmick being that she farts a lot.
I mean, it's definitely all run its course. I mean,
yeah.
I really don't know what other direction she can go. The same thing with like Mickie James, other than just putting other women over.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so much talent in the WWE from a women's perspective that, unfortunately, some of these women that have been there a while, the Alicia Foxes and all, I think they're going to go by the wayside at some point.
Now, real quick, this kind of ties into that, but also something that I wanted to bring up on the predictions show that I realized I forgot when I was talking about all the NXT call-ups.
Right.
And I'm going to be that podcast real quick, but like, do we think they're setting up for a women's Rumble? And might that be a good way to kind of like do the final send-off for Natty and
be the first women's Rumble winner and then have her leave?
Well, no. Just to have her like get bumped out and be like, all right, you know what? Fine, that was the last straw. Or like, like kind of be like, oh, hey, at least she got to partake in the first ever women's Rumble, just like she got to partake in the first ever women's Money in the Bank match.
There's plenty of women to do a women's Rumble.
Especially if you wanted to do like a 20 women's Rumble, because they're easily you have enough talent. If you do a 30 women's Rumble, you have spots for those special, like random guests or one night only.
I think you could even do a 20,
yeah,
and be fine with that. I think people would be fine with that.
Yeah, especially since it's. I mean,
you take 10 from each.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great addition to the thing, but it doesn't need to have the same size as like the main Rumble match, because that's asking people to sit through like 2 hours worth of just Rumble matches is going to be a lot on a card. So I can totally see them doing like a 20 women's Rumble and then a 30 men's Rumble.
Yeah. And it it would bring more value to the women's match at WrestleMania for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
The next match is Breezango against the Bludgeon Brothers.
So I timed this on my watch. Let me see if I can pull up the exact time. I took a screenshot of it, but I believe it was just shy of 2 minutes. Let me get the exact time.
And we both said it'd be under 5.
Yep.
So we both were correct in that.
Yes. So I actually stopped the pay-per-view and restarted it just to make sure I got it bell to bell. And it was I have 1 minute 58.52 seconds.
Wow.
Bell to bell.
Eesh.
I was hoping for a little bit longer. But at the same time, based on your maybe we disagree on this, but I wasn't disappointed because it still like made sense that the Bludgeon Brothers, especially with how strong they're trying to put them over, the Bludgeon Brothers would be able to run through Breezango that quickly.
Right.
And like I mentioned, the Breezango didn't need the win.
Sure. Yeah.
In any facet.
We both agreed on that.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it's just a waste.
Yeah.
It's a wasted match in the middle of a pay-per-view. Sure.
One of my friends didn't even predict, like he tweeted about his predictions for the show. He didn't even bother adding it in. Probably because he knew it was foregone conclusion.
Very mindless.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
that, like I said, you're trying to put over the Bludgeon Brothers, so I understand not putting it on the pre-show. And also that was way too short. In hindsight, that was way too short to have been on the pre-show.
Right.
But like that quality of a match is what you expect on a pre-show, not near the end of the card. Like
Agreed.
That was the second half of the pay-per-view.
It was.
Yeah.
But I did think
that was the way that you were supposed to entice people to stay instead of going to the bathroom and
yes. But I think people knew that the Kevin Owens match and all were coming up, so they were going to stick around. But this was definitely a bathroom match.
Yes.
But I did think it was funny at the end. I think it was Tom Phillips was like, "And case closed." So I caught that. That was pretty funny. So I don't know if we really need to spend. I think we spent more time on this already than how long the match lasted itself.
Yeah. I mean, I think Breezango's entrance was longer.
Yeah. So let's get into the match that we were looking forward to the most.
Yeah, our main event.
Yes, which was the Orton and Shinsuke versus KO and Sami Zayn.
Yeah. I liked how since this wasn't the main event, I was able to just sit back and enjoy the AJ versus Jinder match that ended up being the main event without like wondering which one of us is going to win the title, because it was already concluded at the end of this match.
Mm-hmm.
But what a match!
It was, and I think it was kind of expected that we'd have some clashing between the referees. I'm just such a big fan of Kevin Owens in the ring.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just for him kind of, looking over, telling Shane to do his damn job, telling Daniel Bryan
that was a fast count.
Yeah, exactly. It was a slow count. I totally had him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's great.
I loved some of the like subtle interactions between mostly like Owens and Zayn interacting with the refs, like you were just saying. I loved some of those the subtle ones, the not so subtle ones. Shane losing his mic pack.
Yeah.
And I was like, uh-oh.
Yep.
Now they're going off script.
I do like how with Zayn, man, what they've done for his character now, I think is really good. And I like how the Kevin Owens is kind of rubbing off on him.
Yes.
Especially in ring, he's a lot more entertaining than face Sammy.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, this was very entertaining. They didn't wear their Yep T-shirts,
which was a shame.
But Sammy did have a Yep sweatshirt. I don't know if you noticed.
I did not.
But on the back, it had like this, with their the fingers up, and it had Yep with exclamation points. So that was pretty cool.
I did like how about halfway through the match, the refs decided to split the ring down the middle, a la Full House or any sitcom from like the 80s or 90s.
Right.
I was kind of hoping that they would that the wrestlers would use that a little bit more, and you would get like a pin on like Shane's side. And like it would be a 2 count, so like say Owens was like pinning Orton,
right?
And like gets a 2 count, and he's like fine, and like readjusts Orton so that he's on the on the other side, Bryan's side, and like pins him again and gets a 2 count just because it's it
took that long.
Orton's had that much time to recover, and he's like, damn it, I can't win.
Yeah,
I was really hoping for a spot like that.
I still mark out for that for the blue thunder bomb. I mean, I just how that is not a finisher, I have no idea. But I mark out every time he hits it, and when he hit it on knock, I was but I'm definitely intrigued on how this is going. Daniel Bryan's fast count really screwed me up for the last match and how they were counting, because I was like, that seems like a slow 3 count compared to what Daniel Bryan did at the end. But I did think it was kind of interesting having Daniel Bryan stand with KO and Zayn at the end.
And technically, I will say you predicted Shane's heelish turn. Like he didn't. It's not like he sided with Owens and Zayn, but he was the first one to do some real dick shit, where he went 1, 2, and then
and he stopped.
Stopped. Yeah. So like that. So that was a heel move, but was not what decided the match.
No.
When the pin happened that almost won the match, and who was it? Orton was pinning Zayn.
Yes.
And Kevin ran in and bumped into Daniel Bryan, who bumped into Shane and stopped the count.
Yes.
I jumped up. I was like, oh! and that was the most, quote unquote, in ring action that Daniel Bryan got in the match.
Yeah.
But like I was still like, oh shit, they trust him to like get physical in the match beyond just like running back and forth between the ropes.
Yeah.
I still like that much was enough to get me to mark out a little bit. I hopped up. I stood for a little bit, and I was like, oh. And then, like, when Shane and Daniel Bryan started pushing each other, I was like, oh, shit. And for the hottest of seconds, it looked like Orton was going to do the RKO on Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
I was waiting for that. Yep, I was waiting for that, too. I was happy that, because, we listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
We read other people's stuff. Mm-hmm. And we mentioned it on the pre-show that we didn't want to be like them.
Yeah.
And I for sure did not, especially with this whole Shane McMahon swerve that everyone was predicting that he would eventually side with Owens and Zayn. And I said, no.
Nah.
F this. Daniel Bryan's going to side with them. And whether they choose to boo him or jeer him as a heel because of it, so be it. But I thought that this was going to be Daniel Bryan's heel turn, so to say. And now he's got beef with, quote-unquote, the Authority, which is the McMahons as a whole.
Yeah.
And we talked about it on the pre-show. I think they set it up very well to continue from a creative perspective. Mm-hmm. It is gold.
Yeah.
And so if they play their cards right, I mean, I'm already intrigued for SmackDown just to see what the fallout of this is.
Yes.
Not to say I'm not typically, but yes, it's something that they need to do this correctly from a creative side, and please bring personal stuff into it.
Yes.
So
part of me was thinking, wouldn't it be interesting if like Daniel Bryan was like, and I think I mentioned kind of went over this kind of on the predictions side of the show, but like if like Daniel Bryan had like a hand in orchestrating it, I'm totally fine with him just ultimately siding with Owens and Zayn, but like. And one of the podcasts that I listened to kind of like brought this up. Like, wouldn't it be interesting, since all this stuff kind of happened at the same time? Like Daniel Bryan's orchestrating the Owens and Zayn, at least from afar. Like, kind of like without their knowledge. Like, that's why they didn't get fired. That's why this happened. That's why that happened.
Yep.
And then also, at the same time, like Daniel Bryan is like basically like silently trying to undermine Shane, and like that's why you got the Riot Squad coming up. And even he has his hands in Absolution because he wants to like dominate Raw as well, like. So I was like, ooh, yes, evil warlord Daniel Bryan, count me in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
If they don't go full that way, it's okay. It's like you said, I think they've planted seeds really good for what you were saying, with just more of a personal, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn kind of triangle.
Yep.
If they cast a wider net and added in the stuff with Riot Squad, at least, like that would be really cool too. Like at the very least, he's like, he sees Paige is returned and bought 2 cronies with her. He's like, I could do something like that and use it to my advantage. Like, it would be wonderful to like, it was me, Austin, all along, but they actually like wrote it in.
Bring back some attitude.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And of course, so since I went out on a limb there, I was wrong. Yeah, I lost. So, of course, going into the last match, you could put your feet up and sit pretty and just enjoy the match.
Yeah.
Because you won the belt.
I am the Mark Prediction World Champion for GCW, Geek Out Championship Wrestling.
We'll get into more of that after the last match.
Yeah.
Last match, AJ Styles, Jinder Mahal. I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some parts of it that I thought were pretty good. They really sold the rib injury, which, looked semi-legit. But as I said, I was like, please don't be seriously hurt. But he, but I thought Jinder kind of held his own.
Yeah.
I really think he's very average in the ring anyway. But I mean, early on, Jinder had a lot of offense.
He and Baron Corbin could probably have a great match.
Yeah, exactly.
They could probably have a great feud.
Throw Gable in there for a triple threat.
Yeah.
I did like the USA chants. And Jinder kind of laughing at those. Those were pretty good. But in AJ Styles, it was almost like he threw a little strong style in there.
Yeah.
With that one kick to the head that you could see, it definitely jarred Jinder.
Yeah.
So that was I don't know if it was a mistake or if he really meant to do it or not, but I tell you, after watching the Daniel Bryan counts for the 1, 2, 3, it seemed like every count in the Jinder AJ match was like a 1, 2. Everything seemed slower.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was just my mind playing tricks on me or if they did it on purpose or not. But
I mean, to be fair, the Daniel Bryan count was a legit fast count.
Oh, it was a fast count for sure. It was, but I
don't know if you knew this as a casual fan like you are.
Oh, a casual. Okay. Wow. So that's how it begins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You win one title, and it just goes right to your head.
I'm the cocky face. And
right, of course.
And you're the dastardly heel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you know what? I had to give you the first one. So then when I take it and keep it for the rest of the year, you're going to need to create another belt just so you have a chance at a belt. That's how it's going to go.
Gotcha.
You know?
I mean, I guess I am lead creative for this show, so I could just make as many belts as I want.
Right. And it would be pretty upsetting for you that a casual fan such as myself to outwit the creative genius.
Yeah. Exactly, because I know what's going on.
Oh, right, right.
I don't know. I didn't keep track of the Smark wins, but I'm pretty sure I did best you with the Smark wins.
Well, we're gonna have to go back to the videotape.
Yeah,
but it's pretty easy to pick the favorites. So I mean, don't hurt your shoulder tapping yourself on the back. But anyway, I thought there was the Pele kick to the top rope while Jinder was there. Lovely. That was good. The Singh brothers interfered. Shocker.
Yeah, right.
But the calf crusher finish, it was different. I think I don't know about you, but I was expecting a Styles Clash finish.
Yeah.
But
speaking of Styles Clashes, Jinder trying to hit the Styles Clash.
Yes. That was not.
That was almost like watching Undertaker try to hit the tombstone on Roman Reigns at the end of their match.
Yeah, it was like no.
Yeah. Maybe if Jinder's muscles weren't just for show, he could have hit that. Hot take. He could still kick my ass.
But it was a good finish. I think the calf crusher finish was good.
I usually I don't like a submission finish unless like it really like means something. And he had him in the hold for a long time.
Yes.
I find it's a waste of a submission if like you hit it and then like within like 2 seconds
they're tapping.
I've my rule of thumb, like if I were a wrestler, or if I ran my own promotion,
right?
Since I am head creative, the person in the hold needs to like do a 10 count before they even consider tapping. They can play it up all they want. They can be like, "Oh my god, this hurts so much. This hurts so much." Where they're like looking at the do I tap? But you got to at least do a 10 count before you like realistically, tap or even like no.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start reaching for the ropes right away, sure.
Yeah.
Because that's just smart.
Yeah, and show a little grimace on your face and make sure it looks like it hurts.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're really going out on a limb with your creativity.
Make it look real, guys.
Right.
But having a submission finish like that kind of really, solidifies that AJ won.
Yes.
It wasn't a fluke victory. He took out the Singhs and he took out Jinder.
Yes, that's true. And hopefully that's the end of Jinder.
Hey, don't hinder Jinder.
At least at the main event level.
Right.
I don't know, team him up with Ryder or something. I don't know, but like I don't know. I mean, to me,
bring back 3MB. Call up Drew.
I'm the 3-man band. But yeah, so that was Clash of Champions.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty average pay-per-view. You had only a couple really memorable moments.
Yeah.
My match of the night was the U.S. Championship match.
Yeah.
For a surprise effect, and for the match itself, the action in it.
Yeah.
I don't know, and then the Daniel Bryan KO, whatever we want to call that match.
Yeah.
That match alone, I think, was pretty good too.
The movement match.
But outside of that, everything else seemed kind of forgettable.
Yeah. I will say there was nothing, save for the women's match being kind of overly predictable. There was nothing bad about this pay-per-view.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. It wasn't amazing. And not that every pay-per-view needs to like be amazing, but this was the last pay-per-view of the year. So it would have been nice to go out on a bigger note, and I think that would have been helped if the Yep match had been the main event.
I agree.
So you like finished like the last shot is the three of them standing on the stage being like yep, and then you cut to Shane being like
yep,
I look like a thumb.
Yep.
Yep. No, that would have been a good way to close out the pay-per-view.
Agreed. Yeah. So that's our last pay-per-view until next month, which is the Royal Rumble, which is the last Sunday in January.
Nice.
It'll be the 28th.
The 28th? Okay, so this should be out by the 29th, 30th, probably the 29th, because we try to be pretty good. This week, I haven't mentioned this to you, but this week there's some shenanigans going on with the Geek Out main show. So you listener, you already know this because you've gotten to the end of the thing. But this one's coming out a little late because an interview that we did with the guys that made Ice Cream Man. I'm not the comic book guy of the show, so but we did an interview. It was a really good interview. We needed to bump it out early so that we could help them get their FOC, which is when you order comic books at a comic book shop. So this one's going to be this one was a little bit later than normal, but we're going to try our hardest to make this a Monday after the pay-per-view kind of show.
And I actually got a request that we post our predictions ahead of time, so then people can follow along with our predictions. So that's something else that we are considering, that we post our predictions and then before the pay-per-view, and then we post our follow-on afterwards.
I kind of like that idea, especially since the last episode and this episode are both dangerously close to 2 hours, and that's a lot to ask someone to listen to all in one sitting, especially after they've already seen the pay-per-view.
Yes.
So we will definitely consider that with the coming Rumble.
Yep.
And also, don't forget, we are going to have our year in review and predictions for 2018 coming out later this year.
Yes.
Or later this month, I guess. Around Christmas.
And we'll see if the glorious one Timmy C can show off his smarts over Mr. Creative over here. So we'll see how creative he gets with his predictions for 2018.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it here first. So, do we have a sign off? I can't remember if we came up with a sign off.
I think we're still working on a sign off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Timmy C, this has been a wonderful pay-per-view.
Yep. And don't forget, I'll always be better.
There you go.
Enjoy your championship reign of
I will.
1 month.
I will. I'm gonna have to start. We're gonna have to start doing like some smack talking over social media. Get the buzz going.
Deal. All right, man.
Have a good month.
Take care.
I guess I'll see you when we do our predictions.
Year-end review.
Yeah.
This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.